he has started these big things that are shocking so many people. I am a witness. Groundbreaking was happening while I was there. Such a place where nobody even could have allowed her daughter to get married to. Soon it will be a town. Social amenities will be brought there. It will be attractive. And then with the time, instead of people coming to Nairobi or Kisumu or Mombasa looking for jobs, we will be decongesting the city, because there are cities that are built in towns that never could have become anything if we didn't do such things that the president has started. He is actually translating this vision into reality by starting many things in different counties. If we only shared that vision as leaders as well, and not poison our people from hating anything that he begins. So I just want to applaud the many things he has begun. There are others that are still coming up gradually, progressively, but there are those that actually have already taken off, and there is no looking back. It is time for Kenya to be a grandfather. We are not in an elementary level of growth like other struggling or teething African countries. So if we are going to be the giants, even in this East Africa and Central and East, whatever region in Africa, we must walk the talk. And a good leader knows what they want for their people. They go ahead and they show the way. And that is what the president is doing. So let us stop a little, pause a little, look, and just imagine what a beautiful baby he's trying to create out of Kenya. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Didi Nyoro, member for Kiharu.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for this chance. And I want also to welcome my brother, Honorable Abraham Kirwa, back to Parliament. We are glad to see you. Na karibu sana. Honorable Speaker, I'll be direct to the point. One is that when we have such a situation where we are listening to the State of the Nation address, Honorable Speaker, data should speak more than words. Honorable Speaker, I say so because when you want to invest in a company, for example, you want to invest in a bank, you look at their financial statements, knowing that the Nairobi Securities Exchange and regulators like CMA and the Central Bank of Kenya have done their bit. And therefore you do it knowing that the data you are reading is believable. Honorable Speaker, I say so because some of the data I saw presented last week, I don't know exactly whether it is the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics that is wrong, or it is the speech, and especially the people who made the speech who didn't have the correct data, Honorable Speaker. The first thing I want to cite is the exchange rate. We have been talking here in Parliament and especially giving a narration that we have made the exchange rate to climb down. Honorable Speaker, in the day of elections in Kenya, the exchange rate to the USD was 118 shillings. The exchange rate during the swearing day, Honorable Speaker, was 120 shillings. The exchange rate reached 159 actually in 2023 when we were still around, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, the exchange rate has actually depreciated by 8.5% from August of 2022, Honorable Speaker. And it is in an era where the USD itself globally has depreciated by 10%. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, there, I don't know which data is actually correct. The other issue, Honorable Speaker, is the performance of the Nairobi Securities Exchange. The truth of the matter, and Honorable Speaker, it is usually said that when you have a lion, you just need to unleash it. You don't need to defend it. It defends itself. And that is how facts are, Honorable Speaker. You release them, they defend themselves. The Nairobi Securities Exchange, just like all the other stock exchanges in the world, they are not measured by market capitalization. They are measured by indices. And there are two indices in the NSE, Honorable Speaker. One is called the Nairobi Security or Share Index. The other one is called the 20 Share Index. Honorable Speaker, the highest you have seen, and I say so because in the speech, I saw that the Nairobi Securities Exchange is in its all-time high. Honorable Speaker, that is incorrect. The Nairobi Securities Exchange, even citing the last 5 years, Honorable Speaker, only, or even the last 10 years. Its all-time high in the recent past was actually 2017. But the very much all-time high, Honorable Speaker, was actually around 2007. The Nairobi, the NASI, which is the OSHA index, Honorable Speaker, the all-time high of NASI was actually in 2017, not as it was being given in the speech. And the Honorable Speaker, even the data on construction. If you read the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, the construction sector in Kenya in the 2024 year, Honorable Speaker, it actually contracted by 2%. The consumption of cement was down by 7.9%. Consumption of steel was down at a level where we are doing housing projects. Honorable Speaker, I say so because for us to move forward, we have to be very deliberate and factual on where we are. And that is why, after all is said and done, data always speaks for itself. Because if you compare, Honorable Speaker, Kenya, compare the last 3 regimes for the first 3 years, the regime of President Mwai Kibaki, the regime of President Uhuru Kenyatta, and the current. The first 3 years, President Uhuru Kenyatta took the GDP of Kenya when it was $19 billion. In the first 3 years, it was $26 billion. It was up by over, I think, let me actually quote correctly, Honorable Speaker, it was up 36%. The first 3 years of President Uhuru Kenyatta, it was 21% growth in the GDP. The current situation, Honorable Speaker, the first 3 years, the economy has only grew by around 14%. If you grade using NEC, you times by 2, Kibaki gets 72%, President Uhuru Kenyatta gets 42%, President Kibaki gets 72%, Uhuru Kenyatta 42%, the current one is at 29%. You can use NEC to grade, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the other issue I want to cite is even the regional dominance of Kenya. In the year 2024, Honorable Speaker, Kenya was actually last in terms of growth in the region. Uganda grew by 6%.
Yes, you can. Yes, proceed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for addition of that 2 minutes. Honorable Speaker, I was saying, in the year 2024, Uganda grew by 6%, Tanzania by 6.1%, Honorable Speaker. Rwanda grew by over 8%, Kenya grew by 4.7%. Honorable Speaker, also, as I said, facts are like lion. You release them, you don't defend them, they defend themselves. Honorable Speaker, as I come to the conclusion, I thought the President would actually talk about, or the speech would include the issue of debt. Kenya is currently borrowing 3.5 billion shillings every day, unprecedented. And besides that, we are borrowing also illegally in the name of securitization, in the name of Talanta Board, and the rest. I thought that is a monumental issue that would have been highlighted. But lastly, Honorable Speaker, also, Honorable Speaker, I thought the speech would include the issue of education. The speech was read in a situation where, Honorable Speaker, our principals have received a circular to increase school fees for day scholars, Honorable Speaker, starting January. And I want to rally the members of this House. We must not sit here when the fees for day secondary school is being increased by government from next year. Honorable Speaker, very lastly, I didn't hear the issue of confirmation of the JSS interns, who are 20,000 in number. Honorable Speaker, these JSS interns, our brothers and sisters, must be confirmed into permanent and pensionable terms immediately without delay. I submit, Honorable Speaker.
What's your point of order, Honorable Mohammed?
Madam Speaker, though he has already finished, the honorable member was on the floor. As a concerned Kenyan, he has just indicated that Kenya is borrowing some billions every single day. I would like him to tell me today, how did we borrow? Which bank, which institution borrowed us? Because when you are speaking here, we need to tell wananchi the truth, not just lying. You know, that's a story that can burn a country. When you hear your country is borrowing every day, I beseech you to ask him to give me evidence as a Kenyan. How much have we borrowed today? From which institution? Who signed? Where is the money? Please make this clear to us as wananchi wants to know on their behalf as a Migori member of parliament.
Yes, you've made your point. Honorable Dindi, I'll give you 1 minute.
Honorable Speaker, I don't know how to respond because it's hard to respond to such kind of an issue. Honorable Speaker, just advise the member that the data of Kenya is literally available even now in the Central Bank of Kenya. And it is difficult for me to do your job. Currently, as it is, Honorable Speaker, when this government came in, that is how it is, Honorable Member, the debt of Kenya was 8.7 trillion Kenya shillings. As we talk today, the debt of Kenya is over 12.5 trillion Kenya shillings. And therefore, we have borrowed over 3.5 trillion Kenya shillings in a span of less than 3 years. And therefore, if you divide that by the number of days, I have actually given a discount. We are borrowing more than 3.5 billion every single day, and that is unpalatable.
You have clarified. Thank you. Honorable Didi Rose, I think Honorable Fatuma, everyone is entitled to their opinion. No, everybody is entitled to give their opinion. Honorable Raso, proceed. You're next. You can speak, and you have 10 minutes because you're speaking on behalf of the chairperson of the Committee of Defense and Foreign Relations.
Committee of Administration and Internal Security. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
I'm told actually it's the Chair of Administration and the Internal Security. Proceed.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to welcome Honorable Kirwa back to the House, and we thank God for restoring his health, and we hope you will be back on your feet. Madam Speaker, let me thank the President for this very important address he made to the nation from the floor of this House. It is important for us to say the truth as it is. You know, Madam Speaker, leaders rise and they make their countries rise at the right time. We had Kennedy in America who said, by the end of the decade, a man must be on the moon. Then we had Mao Zedong, who removed his country, China, from a peasant economy to a thriving economy. We had Lee Kuan from Singapore, a man who raised his country from a very rudimentary country in terms of the economy to today a first world country. Madam Speaker, Clinton, when he became the president in 1990s, he said the economy is stupid, and he transformed the American economy. So when we try to compare ourselves, borrowing from what Honorable Dindi Nyoro said, of comparing ourselves to the growth of the Ugandan economy or the other East African economy, our economies are much bigger, and the growth has to be relative to what is the size. And that is why our economy cannot grow at 7, 8, 9, 10%, if really it can grow at 5%, and it still meets its strategic objective. Madam Speaker, let me talk about a few things the President talked about. The first one is about national security. Today, as Kenyans, we must appreciate this government that today that the guns are silent in the arid and semi-arid lands. Of the 6 counties of North Rift, you will find that there is no fighting. In Turkana, in West Pokot, in Baringo, in Marakwet, in Samburu, in Isiolo, in Marsabit. This shows the security investment by this government by improving the governance architecture of having DCCs, ACCs, by having more police stations, having more boots on the ground. Madam Speaker, this government is on record that today we are recruiting 10,000 policemen. That has not happened before in the previous administration. It is good to say when it works and when it is positive. We cannot always be prophets of doom. Madam Speaker, on agriculture and food security, at the beginning of his leadership, the President said, we are not going to subsidize consumption, we are going to subsidize production. Today, when you go to supermarket and you find that food is relatively more affordable than at the beginning in 2022, then it means the agriculture sector is working. Furthermore, when the president says that he's going to build dams in arid and semi-arid land, in Wajir, in Mandera, in Marsabit, in Garissa, in Tana River, because 80% of Kenya is arid and semi-arid land. These are the places where we are likely to have more land and expand land for agriculture. Madam Speaker, on the issue of infrastructure, you know, the reason why infrastructure is more important is for predictability in terms of traveling. Today, if I leave Marsabit at 8 in the morning, I know by 4 I'll be in Nairobi. That is how infrastructure is so important. Today we talk about the airport in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa. Then here we are saying we don't want to expand our airport at Jomo Kenyatta just because of busybodies saying the government is going to lose jobs and many other things. But what we are saying with this president, that he must be courageous enough to take the bull by the horns. By expanding Jomo Kenyatta Airport, we are the hub of this region. How comes that we are losing business to other countries in the region, much smaller than us? Madam Speaker, what is so important in infrastructure is to have national infrastructure bond. As opposed to expanding the tax bracket, more taxation to Kenyans, if we have a fund that is going to be self-regenerating, then it means we'll be able to construct as many roads as we can without resorting to Kenyans dipping more into their pockets. Madam Speaker, what this country needs is a change in the strategic culture. We must begin to have confidence in our leadership. If they are bold, if they give direction, if our leaders are able to make deliberate choices that is of benefit to the country, then we must support those leaders. Madam Speaker, the issue of investment in the human capital. We have the TVET, the Nyota program, and many other programs that is supposed to help the youth to be on their feet and eventually to be able to walk. For these programs to be successful, then it means Kenya must generate enough resources for this particular task. Madam Speaker, the other important issue which I must talk about is the issue of energy. You know, energy is the anchor for industrialization, is the anchor for development. Honorable Kainan there talked about the issue of Wajir, but Wajir is not the only towns in northern Kenya that are dependent fully on generators. If we must develop the north, then we must begin to focus on energy. And what the president should actually do is even to look at the possibility of nuclear power so that Kenya must industrialize without necessarily depending on its neighbors who are also able to sell power from their hydroelectric dams to us. Madam Speaker, I want to finish, and I want to say again about national security. If we walk around this country today, and what we experienced a few years ago, Kenya is relatively more safe. And this is the investment that this government has done on the security infrastructure and also the architecture. in terms of employing people like the Kenya Police Reserve, complementary forces that augment the forces that are there, because we do not have enough police officers or enough police stations to cover those gaps. As people from the ASAL or the pastoralists, we want to encourage more of the locals to be employed in KPR. There are also issues like mobility, force protection for our National Police Service and our security forces to be able to engage in difficult situations without being in harm's way. With those many remarks, Madam Speaker, I beg to support this report. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Ngusia.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving this opportunity to add my voice to this.
And remember, you have 5 minutes.
Yes, and it is coming at a time when the President just visited our county and our region, the Lower Eastern. And before onset, I would like to take this opportunity to thank him more especially for visiting my constituency and becoming the first ever president actually to visit for presidential visit on matters of development. Congratulations, William Ruto, for what you did to people of Mwingi West. A start project that was actually promised by the first President of the Republic of Kenya, 1976. Now it has become a reality. And we Mwingi West people will never forget that. Madam Speaker, the President started by reminding us how far we have come since 62 years ago when we achieved the independence. And he reminded us we really struggled and sacrificed a lot. And right now, we are witnessing tremendous development in our country, relatively compared to our region. And it was very categorical that it can be done. The tigers of Asia, the South Korea, Singapore, Hong Kong, and Malaysia, the way they have come from far. While we can actually look at the national debt, when I remember the deputy president, when he was all over seeing it was, he found an empty coffers. But president went ahead and rectified everything, and congratulations to him, because we never devoted debt before. And the issue of inflation, I remember it was the chorus, and he found us in a very horrible situation when the prices of the commodities had already risen, and congratulations for that resilience. We have seen it, Madam Speaker. I would like to echo the sentiments Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah, who really traversed with us through Kabani region. And I can tell you for free, there are 4 key projects that the community has been crying for since independence. It is a reality. These roads we are talking about, it's happening now. And coming from this region, I can confirm without fear, the President has delivered in terms of road infrastructure. Recall when he counted the number of roads he is going to drill in this country, adding the kilometers to 28,000. And this one will take us to almost the first world. So we need really to be positive as matters of development are concerned, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the issue of GDP, Kenya was ranked 8th. Now we are 6th in Africa. That is a big plus. We have improved from position 8th to position 6th. And that is something that should be recognized. And we need to keep on moving up and consider now comparing ourselves with the tigers of Asia, instead of comparing ourselves with the African brothers and sisters, Madam Speaker. The issue of foreign direct investment, we noted it rose from 60 billion to 195 billion, Madam Speaker, and that is a positive territory because attracting foreign direct investments is going to create employment to our youth, and it has a positive impact on it. The foreign reserves have surpassed $12 billion in our country. And since independence, it has never reached that level. So that is a positive plus, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I note the issue of agriculture. The productivity has increased because of the subsidized fertilizer the president stretched, and this way is going to cure the issues of food insecurity. But I would like to emphasize on the issue of water. We need to move from relying from rain-fed agriculture to at least construct several dams, the ones he mentioned. If it can be actualized and regionally distributed, we are going to cure this issue of food insecurity in our country, Madam Speaker. The issue, of course, which, Madam Speaker, I want to stretch is the housing. We have seen markets coming up, and all the constituencies are experiencing construction of ESP markets, and we are giving our traders places where they can trade with dignity. And this is laudable, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, with those few remarks, I would like to say thank you so much, and let us be positive. Things are happening in our country. Let us be positive and fix where we can. This is our country. This is our country, and we are the only ones who are going to build.
The Honourable Member for Kasese, CPA Ruto.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity given me to weigh my comments on the speech that was made by the President on the State of the Nation address. But first, in his absentia, I want to commend Honorable Kirwa for the faith and the strength that he has taken through his health treatment and recovery process, and that today he has appeared here. I would have also wished to make a comment to his dear wife, Frashan, for the good work she did to ensure that she gave the right support to the husband. Madam Speaker, also allow me quickly to pay a tribute and message of condolence to the family of Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, that as we say in our culture, that thunder doesn't strike twice. However, to the family, today we received the sad news of the death of the sister to the late Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, Perry Laching, and it is so unfortunate, and I want to take this moment on my own behalf and the behalf of Kasese to pay tribute. Madam Speaker, I want quickly to make a few observations on the speech made by the President. Number one, Mr. Speaker, if you listen keenly on how the President stood in the body of Mia and spoke to Kenyans through this National Assembly, it is a message of hope. It is a message of surety. It is a message of guiding Kenyans from where they were, the difficulties Kenya has gone through, to a better promise land, like the way God promised the children of Israel, that they will go to the land of Canaan, land full of milk and honey. However, it was a long journey, full of difficulties and challenges and hunger. This is where the country Kenya has been for all decades since we attained independence. We've had a lot of focus from the first president, where he spoke about fighting diseases, anger, and poverty, and of course, access to education. Second president came in the same way. Third president, the late Mwai Kibaki, spoke on the economic transformation, and he initiated the discussion about transforming our economic agenda and development of the nation. That is where the beginning of growth of debt in this republic, in equivalent level of the infrastructure growth that we saw. President Uhuru Kenyatta came in on the 4 pillars, the agendas on affordable housing, on the issue of food security, on the issue of universal health coverage, on the issue of housing. All those, he spoke about them, but we never saw the results. Today, as we speak, the current 5th president of the Republic of Kenya is not only speaking about these agendas, but he can demonstrate through his speech that things that are physical, you can appreciate that are happening in the nation. Every part of the country, you will see visible the issues that I spoke about, issues to do with housing, issues to do with market studies, linking production to the market and increasing the value chain, creating business, creating opportunity for earnings. You can speak about sports. You can speak about now infrastructure, which is the critical element of development and growth in our economy. Because where we are going as a nation is to grow from production now to manufacturing. Madam Speaker, listening to my senior colleagues who have spoken here, casting aspersion and sending negativity on the statement of the president on the ground of the difficulty of our economic situation. Madam Speaker, I would have wished I had an opportunity when my senior was making statement here, Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, and he has categorically elaborated and reflected or compare the situation in our Kenyan market with the other first world countries, which I appreciate. We may not have gone that direction at the moment, but we are going there. However, I would have wished him to clarify that the three preceding budgets that he saw here as the chairman, budget and appropriation, and as we know very well, that the budgets of the country are prepared very well on or basing or on the background of the economic condition of the nation. I would have wished to know that those budgets that were prepared basing on those situations, and right now that is able to reflect on his understanding the challenges on those markets. Madam Speaker, or Mr. Speaker, kumbe there is a change of the Speaker. I would have wished now for him to compare and speak to Kenyans that those budgets were prepared on a stable economic situation, on a stable market, or prepared on a changing or without hope, so that Kenyans are able to put trust on the reports that are being prosecuted and presented to this House, that the budgets that were made are truthful and the budgets that were able to be measured to be achieved, so that Kenyans are able to appreciate works that are being done in this House. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, and I want to say that we want to support the President and ensure that the President moves forward with stopping rejectionist and being full of negativity. This country, Kenya, has to move forward, but we must pay a price of sacrifice so that we move forward. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order, but he has already concluded. No, you can only do it when he's still on his feet. Yeah, sorry. Gikaria, Honorable Gikaria. Honorable Gikaria.
I'm here, Honorable Speaker.
Proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to give my comments on the State of the Nation address that was given by His Excellency the President. Honorable Speaker, I want to start by saying that the address that was given by the President was factual. Honorable Speaker, in the very first paragraph, he says, 2 years ago, Honorable Speaker, when I delivered my first State of the Nation address, I had a vision to sell. And he said, today, I have a vision to tell. Honorable Speaker, how true this statement could be is elaborated, Honorable Speaker, by the so many paragraphs that in his speech that has reflected what he has to sell by saying factual, figurative, and even naming institutions, Honorable Speaker, that have spoken and have given figures. Honorable Speaker, the best thing about the President is that he does not only speak out of a blue, but he speaks from factual figures that he has gotten from different institutions, the Kenya Bureau of Statistics, and naming other institutions, not only even including international institutions, Honorable Speaker, that rates or give standing or gives. Honorable Speaker, we have been requested here by an honorable member to rate the current president vis-a-vis other presidents who have who had come before him. Honorable Speaker, we keep on reminding people that him at 27%, at 29% purported, as you are being told, Honorable Speaker, and with only 3 years of being in office, actually 2 years in office, then the actual rating could have come if he has finished the 10 years like the other two predecessors who have been indicated, Honorable Speaker. So again, it is not fair for you to compare somebody who has been in office for 2 years with somebody who has been in office for 10 years, and then you want us to believe that what you're saying is the factual truth. Honorable Speaker, that is not a proper comparative figures that you can be able to. But that said and done, Honorable Speaker, what Majority Leader had indicated earlier, Honorable Speaker, the falsehood and misinformation that is out there is something that is actually creeping into the Kenyans' mind by them believing falsehood that has been given, Honorable Speaker. And it's very unfortunate. Honorable Speaker, just over the weekend, when I was disbursing some bursaries forms for us to be able to be ready for the payment of bursaries for coming year, one of the people, when I asked whether SHA is working, several women raised their hand and said it's not working. When I challenged them that after that cassation that we've had, I will pick them to go to the hospitals that they had attended, and SHA was not working. But to my disbelief, Honorable Speaker, all the 4 women were nowhere to be seen because they were lying. And that is what is happening in this country. Honorable Speaker, it's very unfortunate. I would want to say that the President did give, and if you look at the 10-point agenda, I mean, there's so many issues that he has indicated, Honorable Speaker. It is true that the farm input, the harvest has increased, Honorable Speaker. The housing units, Honorable Speaker. Also, we are seeing so many in my constituency. For example, Honorable Speaker, we are having over 3,000 affordable housing that is ongoing. Honorable, that is the truth that is about the jobs that he promised these young Kenyans, Honorable Speaker. It is, and the SHA increase of registration, Honorable. All these are factual information, and the President has indicated by figures and the institutions that are rating. And Honorable Speaker, we just need to be focused as a country.
Honorable Sarah Korere.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I also want to add my voice to the presidential State of the Nation address. And Honorable Speaker, among the many things that we really expected to hear from this speech was the development of infrastructure in the ASAL counties. And Speaker, as a figure father, the President can only sell hope and faith to Kenyans. And Honorable Speaker, promises have been given not just now, since the beginning of the world. You know, God promised Abraham and Sarah that they will be the mothers of nations, that he will give them a lot of children, but they got one child, and the promise was fulfilled. Speaker, God promised the children of Israel that he will deliver them to a land called Canaan. And it took them 40 years to reach Canaan, and the promise was fulfilled. When promises are given, the next phase of promises is to wait for the promise. And Speaker, when the President spoke about subsidies, it is true. Before 2022, subsidies were given to fuel, to unga, not production, but consumables. And Speaker, these subsidies were enriching the ones who are already rich to the detriment of the poor Kenyans. But when the President subsidized fertilizer, the price of unga, which is a common meal to almost every table in this country, has reasonably gone down from the 250 in 2022 to 130, 120, depending on where you come from. But Mr. Speaker, those of us who are in Jubilee, the Jubilee Coalition and the Jubilee Party last parliament, we know the manifesto of Jubilee Party. One, it was the issue of affordable housing, which we never did. Number two, it was the issue of universal health coverage, which we never did. Because every time you want to do something, you fear the repercussions. But for this president, he dared take the bulls by the horns. But having said that, Mr. Speaker, I was a little taken aback by this speech because I expected the president to mention, at least among the roads he mentioned, the Doldol-Nanyuki road, which has become an elephant in the room. If you come to Laikipia County, Mr. Speaker, all tarmac starts and end where Laikipia North begins. And Mr. Speaker, we are very hopeful that for the time of this president, the Doldol-Nanyuki tarmac will happen. And Mr. Speaker, when we talk of the price of unga, it is true the price of unga has come down. But if you go to buy unga in Doldol today, you will buy it for the 250 or even 260. Why? It is because of the cost of transportation. The pathetic state of that road is making all the prices go up. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, the issue of security. There is no president who have done much in security like the current president. But again, Mr. Speaker, I want to urge the president that even as we recruit the police officers, we have those people who are called the National Police Reservists. Those National Police Reservists are actually sorting out the security situation in our counties more than any police officer can do. And my humble appeal is, at least these National Police Reservists should be kitted, should be at least well enumerated, should, if nothing else, at least SHA should be paid for all of them, so that as they put their life in line because of the citizens, because of us, and our cattle and our camels and our goats, at least somebody is.
Yeah, Janda, Shahir, Zahir.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I would like to support the President's speech. Honorable Speaker, the President's State of the Nation address speech was precise, measured, and deeply reassuring. He spoke with firm clarity on our national progress and set a confident, unifying tone for the path ahead for the country. A statement's message, very well balanced, articulate, visionary, and anchored in service to the people. Honorable Speaker, I am a very proud member of Parliament today because this government, after very many years, is doing a tarmac project of about 50 kilometers in my constituency, Nyaribari Chache. Honorable Speaker, one of the phenomenal projects that has happened in this government is the affordable housing project. Honorable Speaker, after many years of failed leadership and broken promises, the President has boldly revolutionized the housing sector, turning dreams into keys in the hands of our people. Through visionary policies, innovative solutions, institutional reforms, he has sparked a robust economic growth, created job opportunities, and proven to us that true leadership is not just about building houses, but a stronger and a prosperous nation for all of us in the Republic. Against all odds, Honorable Speaker, the President has defied expectations with unwavering resolve, firm discipline, and commitment to make Kenya an equal among the global nations and not a third world country, but a first world country. And that is where we are, and we're in full support of His Excellency, the President. Honorable Speaker, where many doubted, the President delivered, reviving hope, driving development, and uniting the country under the broad-based government. Honorable Speaker, the President's momentum, energy, his drive, and the synergy, and the programs and commitment to change is no longer in question. It is now the engine of Kenya's renewed hope and progress. Honorable Speaker, I want to disagree with my brother and my colleague, the Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, who just spoke right now. And the Honorable Ndindi Nyoro is talking about the government borrowing 3.5 billion shillings every single day. Honorable Speaker, I want to ask the Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, my colleague who is seated next to me here, to table and prove to this House and to the country how this money is being borrowed. That is a flat lie, and I want him to prove to us what he just said. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Janda, lie is not is a parliamentary language. You say misleading if you want to do that. Under the circumstances, you have to withdraw that. The word lie. You cannot say an honorable member of parliament.
I am sorry, Honorable Speaker. I want to withdraw the word lie and replace it with a misleading information to the country. And that is not right. So Honorable Ndindi Nyoro is misleading this House, is misleading this country.
Order. You have not apologized. You apologize and withdraw the word lie that you have used, imputed against an honorable member.
Honorable Speaker, I want to apologize and withdraw that.
Oh,
thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Okay. The Honorable Adagala. Madam Adagala, followed by the MP for Garissa Township.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to also speak on the head of state speech in this House, Mr. Speaker. Sir. I want to support that speech, my Speaker, keeping in mind that most of my colleagues have spoken about it, and I also want to speak on it, Mr. Speaker. The head of state actually stressed on so many things that he has put in place as per his manifesto to the Kenyans. And most of the things promised, Mr. Speaker, are being done here and there. If you can look at when he took over the office, the shilling compared to the dollar was extremely very high. But Mr. Speaker, within a short period, the shilling has stabilized and we can see great things coming up. And I'm very sure very soon things are going to stabilize and the shilling and our economy is going to grow in the highest way that it's supposed to grow. Mr. Speaker, when it comes to housing development, I think this is one of the best that has the current government under His Excellency William Samoei Ruto has done, keeping in mind that every Kenyan deserves to live in a dignified manner. Every Kenyan needs to have a decent home, a decent housing, not with the flying toilets and other things that are best known. Mr. Speaker, I can commend him on this, because the other government also had, the other Jubilee government had the same housing in their manifesto, which never happened. But I want to thank the President through his statement, and even we can see from the ground, nearly every county housing program is going on. Mr. Speaker, when it comes to roads, I've seen my people complaining, especially Western region, they're complaining roads are not there, but I think in the next speech, I want to ask and I want to ensure that our roads also are anchored into the next program so that we have most of our roads tarmacked like other areas. My colleague here was talking about Honorable Ndindi. Ndindi here is a very good young man. I can see he's doing a lot in his area. I'm talking on size of roads because I envy his area. When I think he was in the chairman of budget, he put a lot of money on roads towards that side. The next speech that will come here, Mr. Speaker, I think it will now be roads from other areas like my area, which needs to be, roads needs to be tarmacked so much. But I want to say that this is the best message the president brought into this house, because things are being stabilized here and there. And Mr. Speaker, if we can go by that, this is just half, almost a quarter or 3/4 of his regime. I'm very sure in the next, I heard people screaming here 2 term, and I think in the next 2 term, things will be okay. The country will have stabilized in everything, and we will be good to go. Mr. Speaker, I think this should be encouraged, because once things stabilize, like I'm happy with the fertilizer. You know, us in our area side of our place, we like eating ugali, and I want to say that the fertilizer reduced from the last regime from 7,000 to 2,500, which is a plus, and also will encourage, as we are coming to the new year, I'll encourage also he may look at the seeds also, the prices to come down, but the farmers also who are planting the maize and so forth also to have good prices. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, to me this speech was very well calculated. It is a very good one. We need to encourage this, but now we want to ask the president to keep on pushing for more and also fight the demon that is called corruption. I'm sure once corruption is fought, this country, we are going to be among the best, as he's desiring Kenya to be like Singapore and other developed nations.
Yes, the Honorable MP for Garissa Township.
Thank you,
followed by the Honorable Rosa Buyu, and then followed by the Engineer Kiragu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
In that order, and then followed by Omondi Karoli. Proceed.
After me, okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, also for giving me this opportunity. Let me take this opportunity also to congratulate the President in his State of the Nation address last week on Thursday. Mr. Speaker, the President in his opening speech was that 2 years ago I made a statement here on the vision he has for this country. And he had outlined at that time the vision he had for this country. And on that also, the manifesto he presented to the Kenyan people during the last general election. Mr. Speaker, the President, the promises he made during the campaigns for 2022 elections and the statement that he made in 2023 during the State of the Nation address were in line with his vision he had for this country. What we need to ask ourselves as a country is the President following the promises he made? Is he implementing those programs that he promised as a country? And one of the things that we should be asking, is he following the manifesto that he had during the campaign period? Those who are keenly following those promises that he made. And again, as a country, we must be patient with the promises that are made. You do not expect miracles to happen in a country that had faced so many challenges. 60 years of neglect as a country, poor leadership. It cannot be changed by an individual within 3 years of leadership. The President has given us hope, and we must follow through that hope that he has given. Did the President promise food security in terms of subsidizing production against consumption? It is very clear in the last general election, before the general election of 2022, during the subsidy of UNGA, people were given certificates to go and source, tenders and to go and source for maize as a subsidy. and people were making a kill out of that. And at the end of the 2022 election, the country had a debt of 6 billion owing to those who were given subsidy to the millers. Did that improve? The fact that he gave subsidy to production, food production in terms of fertilizer, did it improve the food prices of this country? That is a fact, and it has happened. Did the president promise affordable housing? Did he promise during the election of 2022 in his manifesto? Yes. Did he promise during the first State of the Nation address? Yes. Is it happening? Yes, it is happening. And that can be confirmed. Did he promise markets? Yes. Are they happening? Are they under construction? They are happening. Did the president promise Hustler Fund? Today, hustlers have borrowed 80 billion Kenya shillings, and there is a saving of 5 billion shillings out of that 80 billion borrowed. And we have 76% payment by those who borrowed. Did the president promise stabilization of the fuel prices? Yes. Did it happen? It happened. During Uhuru's time, fuel subsidy was done, almost 40 shillings a liter to the fuel OMCs, those who are supplying fuel to the country. During that period, did we face challenges in terms of accessing fuel in this country? Yes. Did it stabilize now? Do we have enough flow of fuel, the availability of this fuel? Yes. Did we pay, during that time, at the end of the 2022, after the election, oil dealers owed this government 70 billion Kenya shillings, and it was paid by William Ruto after he came to office. This country today, Mr. Speaker, every international organization is trooping into this country. WTO has opened. UN offices have been opened, relocating from New York and Geneva. Why is it happening? It's because of the stabilized country, politics, good politics, the democratic ideals of this country. Did the president promise teachers? 76,000 teachers were recruited during the last two periods. Almost a third of the country's teaching fraternity for the last 60 years. So, Mr. Speaker, as I support this agenda of the president, Kenyans must be patient with the president. We do not expect magic to happen so that...
Give him an additional 1 minute.
The Speaker, the president mentions a number of roads in this that he intends to construct. I want to do some asks from the president as the people of Northern Kenya and as a representative of people from Northern Kenya. Isiolo to Mandera Road is under construction that was started by this president, but the pace is going very slow. We want him to finish those roads between now and 2027. Garissa, Dadaab, and Liboi Road, a very key road that the president promised us, not yet started. We want him to look into that. Wajir Moyale Road, a very key road connecting us to Ethiopia to improve our economic activity of our nation. Mr. Speaker, let me say that we ask the president to take up those issues, the new roads we are asking as a people of Northern Kenya, and he's on right track. Those who are against his ideas are not factual. They just want to make it difficult for him to run this country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Rosa Biu, I thought I mentioned in that order. Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for giving me a chance to speak. And before I say anything, I just want to say that I've had a very long month. But God is gracious, and we are back on our feet, and the country will move on. Mr. Speaker, the biggest gift that the Constitution has for Kenyans is devolution. Because devolution dictates that every part of this country gets something or gets developed in equal measures like the other part. For a long time, Mr. Speaker, we've had issues with development being skewed, and many Kenyans have cried foul that they don't get any return of their hard work and of the taxes that they pay. And that was supposed to be cured by devolution. Mr. Speaker, when the president did speak to us last week, I'd hoped that he'd tackle the issue of devolution and the challenges that devolution is facing and what the government hopes and plans to do to meet or to effect, to answer to those challenges. But that did not come through very clearly. Mr. Speaker, I also expected the president to speak on corruption. We know that corruption ails many sectors in this country, and we know that not enough has been done to mitigate corruption. I also expected the president to talk about that. But having said that, Mr. Speaker, the greatest thing that the president demonstrated was the fact that in his reign and the few years that he's been on that throne, the distribution of development in all parts of Kenya is top of his agenda. Mr. Speaker, for a long, long time, Nyanza was left undeveloped because of the saying, and I dare say it in Kiswahili, siasa mbaya, maisha mbaya. Mr. Speaker, because we chose to do politics in a certain way, Nyanza was always left behind when it came to development. But I want to look at two aspects where the president has really performed well and where he demonstrated in his address. The two aspects are in infrastructure, in terms of roads and housing. And when I talk about Nyanza, we've seen tremendous improvement on roads. Mr. Speaker, in Kisumu, we've had the Chemelil, Miwani, Moroni Road, which has been lying like a dead elephant for a long time. But I'm happy to say that in his government, we now have that road almost complete. Mr. Speaker, we talk about SGR. SGR was a thing that was always in the other government, but SGR is now going to be effected, and it will run up to Malaba, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to look at South Nyanza and talk about the Lake Victoria Ring Road. We know that when that is done, it will open up places and it will ease transport and open up economic opportunities for the people. And the reason why I'm saying this is in his address and in his government, we are seeing that areas that were underdeveloped or long forgotten, despite the fact that they did not vote for the government and other people chose to call them non-shareholding areas, he has turned a blind eye to that non-shareholding nonsense and is actually looking at Kenya as a whole and developing Kenya as one nation. Mr. Speaker, I come from Kisumu West. We have one tarmac road, but guess what? Hololela is also going to be tarmacked, and it's in this budget, in an area where nobody ever thought that we would have a security road by the name of Hololela. And I want to thank the President for all the effort that he's putting and ensuring that Kenya moves as one. Because when development is skewed, there'll be no peace in this country. But when you spread out development and every Kenyan feels like they're taken care of, Kenya will remain peaceful. So I want to thank the President for the effort that he's put. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you once again.
Engineer Kiragu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to comment on the presidential speech. One, I want to thank the President for a speech that gave us the history of this country and also gave us the direction and the hope as to how we can move this country forward. I also want to take note of the fact that he has fulfilled that obligation that is in our Constitution to come to this House to give a state of the nation. Mr. Speaker, for us to grow this economy, we will need to be people who are not fearful, people who will make decisions and follow them through. We have been mentioning many countries like Singapore, Malaysia, China, Japan, and many others. Mr. Speaker, those countries made very, very difficult decisions for them to be who they are. And this country, for us to solve some of the major problems we have of unemployment of our youth, we have to make very difficult decisions. Mr. Speaker, we have a challenge of making this country competitive to enable people to come to this country to invest so that we can create employment. One of the key things that the President mentioned is to bring down the cost of power in this country. And I am happy myself as an engineer when he mentioned about nuclear energy. Many people fear this nuclear energy generation. But most of the countries that have made it, they have actually utilized the nuclear energy to make their power generation more efficient and affordable. So for us to move on is to stabilize our education system, to make sure that we emphasize research and development. I know, Mr. Speaker, one time I was the engineer in charge of Nyayo Car. And when we finished the testing and we had to do commercial, there was argument, and I want to respect my friend, honorable member of Dede Nyoro of Keharu. I had many such economists give figures and data, and all of them, they were negative. What we lost as a country is an opportunity to be a car manufacturer, because they argued you are not many in the country. And I was there seated saying, what about Sweden? They are only 7 million with their car like Saab and Volvo, and they were doing well. But Mahindra, the one of India, they made that decision at that time. And today, Mahindra is a vehicle manufacturing company. So this opportunity we have today as Kenyans to move this country forward will require us to make sure that the route we will take will develop the infrastructure, will skill our people up so that they have a challenge for this century. And I believe in the infrastructure, the ICT network that we have, lowering our power generation, we can improve this country so that it becomes competitive. Speaker, on Friday, I welcome all the members of this House and the public to come and witness a historical event when we are launching the Mau Summit Kamadora project. Many people will talk about figures and scare us, but this is a reality. That road between Rimuru and Naivasha, we have had many people who have died. As a country, we have lost over 4,000 people in a motor vehicle accident. What about the time we lose in our highways? I wish somebody can quantify that when they are giving the data. As a country, we are ready to improve infrastructure in this country. And Mr. Speaker, unless we do some of this very heavy lifting, this country will not be able to be taken to where we are. We cannot compare ourselves with our neighbors. I wish somebody could say, what is the debt GDP ratio of Sudan, Uganda, and our neighboring country? And also tell us, in US, what is the debt?
Give him a minute more. Conclude, Engineer Kiragu.
So that when we are talking about this debt ratio, we also factor the others that we know, and to see whether this country is way off or is also in the same region with the others who want to go like we want to do. But I believe this House, this time, we cannot talk about the past. We have an opportunity ourselves to guide this country to move ahead. Thank you.
Mondi Karoli, I thought was next in that order.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. Let me begin by conveying my condolences to the Jaramogi family on the loss of Beryl Achieng Odinga, one of the late Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga's sisters. She was a very gentle lady, very calm, and we are very sorry for losing her, especially soon after we lost our dear departed Prime Minister.
So our condolences to the Jaramogi family. We wish them all the strength to endure this loss. Honorable Speaker, I'm very happy that the President gave a very eloquent speech in this House. And if you saw the enthusiasm with which he delivered it, and even the way it was drafted and the comparisons it gave, it was a great speech, no doubt. And I think it really painted his vision for the country and what he thought we should do to achieve that vision. But I'm very sorry, I think it was rather misplaced in the context of a State of the Nation address. And I'm saying that as a lawyer and somebody who was a good civics student, and also out of a desire that when we debate some issues here, we should project the correct position under our Constitution to Kenyans, and especially those who are still in school who could be looking at us. If you look at Article 132 of our Constitution, the State of the Nation address should capture three issues. One, measures taken and progress achieved in the realization of national values and principles under Article 10 of our Constitution. And the President gave us a report which is 667 pages on that particular matter. The second item that the State of the Nation address should cover is progress made in fulfilling the international obligations of the Republic of Kenya. Again, the President submitted a report of 659 pages on that particular item. And the last one is the state of national security, where he presented a 116 pages report. But if you look at his speech, there's a disconnect. He did not talk to these reports. So we could be confusing wananchi that the President's speech, which in my view would have been a great pre-budget statement or a very great statement at the launch of a party manifesto, is what the State of the Nation address should be. And I'm saying this because the question we should ask ourselves, why a State of the Nation address and why Article 10 of the Constitution? There's a reason. Because the framers of our Constitution believed great nations, progressive nations, and stable nations are founded on national values and strong institutions. And those are the two areas that the State of the Nation address should be talking to us every year about, so that we can list those values. And of course, they're in this report. But if you listen to the President's speech and you're just an ordinary person, you'd think the State of the Nation address is about roads, is about hospitals, is about this. Those are elements of a very narrow concept of the national values, which may be inclusivity or respect of human rights. But we have issues of devolution, and devolution